Hey, Shalom wa qam Yasharahla. Today we're going to read the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapters 46 and 47. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, chapter 46. Jesus, the son of Navi, was valiant in the wars, and was the successor of Moses in prophecies, who according to his name was made great for the saving of the elect of Yahweh, and taking vengeance of the enemies that rose up against them, that he might set Israel in their inheritance. How great glory got he when he did lift up his hands and stretch out his sword against the cities. Who before him so stood to it? For the Lord himself brought his enemies unto him. Did not the sun go back by his means, and was not one day as long as two? He called upon the Most High Lord when the enemies pressed upon him on every side. And the great Lord heard him, and with hailstones of mighty power he made the battle to fall violently upon the nations. And in the descent of Beth-horon he destroyed them that resisted, that the nations might know all their strength, because he fought in the sight of the Lord, and he followed the mighty one. In the time of Moses also he did a work of mercy, he and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, and that they withstood the congregation, and withheld the people from sin, and appeased the wicked murmuring. And of 600,000 people on foot, they too were preserved to bring them into the heritage, even unto the land that floweth with milk and honey. The Lord gave strength also unto Caleb, which remained with him unto his old age, so that he entered upon the high places of the land, and his seed obtained it for an heritage, that all the children of Israel might see that it is good to follow the Lord. And concerning the judges, every one by name, whose heart went not a whoring, nor departed from the Lord, let their memory be blessed. Let their bones flourish out of their place, and let the name of them that were honored be continued upon their children. Samuel, the prophet of the Lord, beloved of his Lord, established a kingdom and anointed princes over his people. By the law of the Lord he judged the congregation, and the Lord had respect unto Jacob. By his faithfulness he was found a true prophet, and by his word he was known to be faithful in vision. He called upon the mighty Lord when his enemies pressed upon him on every side, when he offered the sucking lamb. And the Lord thundered from heaven, and with a great noise made his voice to be heard. And he destroyed the rulers of the Tyrians, and all the princes of the Philistines. And before his long sleep he made protestations in the sight of the Lord and his anointed. I have not taken any man's goods, so much as a shoe, and no man did accuse him. And after his death he prophesied, and shewed the king his end, and lifted up his voice from the earth in prophecy, to blot out the wickedness of the people. This is Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, chapter 47. And after him rose up Nathan to prophesy in the time of David. As is the fat taken away from the peace offering, so was David chosen out of the children of Israel. He played with lions as with kids, and with bears as with lambs. Slew he not a giant when he was yet but young? And did he not take away reproach from the people, when he lifted up his hand with the stone and the sling, and beat down the boasting of Goliath? For he called upon the Most High Lord, and he gave him strength in his right hand to slay that mighty warrior, and set up the horn of his people. So the people honored him with 10,000s, and praised him in the blessings of the Lord, and that he gave him a crown of glory. For he destroyed the enemies on every side, and brought to naught the Philistines his adversaries, and brake their horn in sunder unto this day. In all his works he praised the Holy One most high with words of glory. With his whole heart he sung songs, and loved him that made him. He set singers also before the altar, that by their voices they might make sweet melody and daily sing praises in their songs. He beautified their feast and set in order the solemn times until the end, that they might praise his holy name, and that the temple might sound from morning. The Lord took away his sins and exalted his horn forever. He gave him a covenant of kings and a throne of glory in Israel. After him rose up a wise son, and for his sake he dwelt at large. Solomon reigned in a peaceful time and was honored, for Yahweh made all quiet round about him, that he might build an house in his name, and prepare his sanctuary forever. How wise wast thou in thy youth, and as a flood, filled with understanding. Thy soul covered the whole earth, and thou filledst it with dark parables. Thy name went far unto the islands, and for thy peace thou wast beloved. The countries marveled at thee for thy songs and proverbs, and parables and interpretations. By the name of the Lord Power, which is called the Lord Power of Israel, thou didst gather gold as tin, and didst multiply silver as lead. Thou didst bow thy loins unto women, and by thy body thou wast brought into subjection. Thou didst stain thy honor and pollute thy seed, so that thou broughtest wrath upon thy children, and wast grieved for thy folly. So the kingdom was divided, and out of Ephraim ruled a rebellious kingdom. But the Lord will never leave off his mercy, neither shall any of his works perish, neither will he abolish the posterity of his elect, and the seed of him that loveth him he will not take away. Wherefore he gave a remnant unto Jacob, and out of him a root unto David. Thus rested Solomon with his fathers, and of his seed he left behind him Rehoboam, even the foolishness of the people, and one that had no understanding, who turned away the people through his counsel. There was also Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who caused Israel to sin, and shewed Ephraim the way of sin. And their sins were multiplied exceedingly, that they were driven out of the land, for they sought out all wickedness till the vengeance came upon them. That's Ecclesiasticus or Sirach chapters 46 and 47. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barak Atham, and as always, double shalom.